happy days. That actually works quite well. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the workshop. Now it is bright and early the following morning from installing this dust extraction system. So if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch this first. In this video we're going to be making some homemade blast gates. I'm short a few, so we'll make our own ones. And I will talk a little bit more about the earthing and grounding of this pipework to get rid of static. I didn't show you guys how to connect the copper wire, how to run the copper wire. So I'll talk a little bit about that in this video as well. I'm an idiot and I forgot. And I just assumed, so you should never assume. So I'm going to get my coffee, get my face to wake up. I'm going to go make some blast gates. Let's do it. Okay, this is what I have, and it's all I have in the workshop, so it's all I'm going to use to make my blast gates. I have some plywood here. It's 3/4 birch ply. It's what I have left from making the moccasin voice and the leg voice. And I also have a little bit of fibre board. It's 6mm fibre board or hard board. So we'll use that for the sliding mechanism, and this will make our frame. Now, going to be nice and simple, very, very basic. There's not going to be much to this. I'm just going to cut two pieces, a back and a front from the plywood, drill a 4-inch hole or a 100mm hole for my pipe to go through. Then we will make a slider from the hardboard, which will slide in between. We'll make two rails from the hardboard as well, which will go either side, and then we'll have a piece that just slides up and down the middle, and that locks itself when it comes to its full length out. It'll stop, and it'll have a stop on the top, a little handle that we can pull it out. So really, really simple. I might put some of this pond liner that I have. It's just a piece of rubber. I might put that between the fibre board and the plywood on the side that faces the dust extractor. We'll see. Hopefully this will slide over. It may and may not. If it doesn't, we won't use it, but we'll see. So when I get this measured up now, it's going to be just two little small pieces of board. We're going to go 20mm either side of that 100mm pipe, so 140mm altogether. And yeah, we'll just cut it long enough then that we can have an actual mechanism that will go inside it. So it's very basic. Okay, so here is our design. It is nice and simple. So I have a 4-inch hole or the 100mm hole just drawn on there for my pipe. I'm going to have a runner down either side, and then I'm going to have a center section that slides up and down. So the bottom piece, the stop, will be made from the hardboard. The two side pieces will be made from the hardboard because it's the same thickness. And then our center section in here will also be made from hardboard, and that will just slide up and down between the two runners, just like that, opening and closing this hole. And this is the other side of it then, so we'll have another hole in this. So we just need to cut out these two pieces now and drill a 4-inch hole or a 100mm hole through both pieces, and then we can cut our strips and stick it all together. It's very, very simple, so let's do it. Okay, so there's my two pieces, nice and simple. I want to drill a 4-inch hole now, or a 100mm hole, straight through the two of these. This guy is the perfect size, so it gives it a good snug fit. So it's going to go straight through there like that on the pillar drill. And just get these two lined up. A little bit of double-sided sticky tape is always handy. The quickest and easiest way of sticking two things together so they're held. Lovely stuff. Now we can drill through the two of these. Okay guys, we have all our pieces cut up now. This is a nice, quick and simple project. So I just took it outside to drill it with this 4-inch thing because it's blunt and it nearly set the piece on fire. So I have my two holes drilled through my two pieces, and I've made up my hardboard pieces. So there you go, nice and simple. Stuck the two of them together, drilled straight through them. Now I have my sides made, so they'll just go on like that. I have my bottom piece, that's my stop, which will go like that. And then I have my sliding center piece, which is this guy here. And he will operate just like that. So, get all them lined up. Give you a rough idea how the mechanism works. So that's going to be inside the whole lot. And he's literally just going to slide up and down like that. Nice and simple. I'm going to draw a line here so I know when it's open, and then draw a line here so I know when it's fully closed. And yeah, nice and simple. So now What I need to do is get this all assembled. I could really do with a brad nailer now, but I don't have one. It would be ideal for this situation. I could have this together in 2 seconds, but I don't. So a little bit of wood glue, a few screws, and we'll clamp it in place. Okay, I just drilled 4 screw holes just to keep this guy down. I've measured in just about 30mm from each end, so I know where the screw holes are, and I won't put the screws on top of them. When I put this guy on, I'll be screwing through the whole lot. So that's just to get my runners in place and make sure that we're held there. So again, if I had a brad nailer, just a couple of brad nails in that now, and that will be sorted, but we're going to use screws because I don't have a brad nailer. So nice and simple. Lovely. So that's that guy. Then we can screw this guy on top of him. I just want to mark where our screw holes are. So don't put one there, 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 and don't put one there. Okay, that should be simple enough. That will work just like that. Happy days. Okay, so I just drilled 6 countersink holes around this, avoiding the screws that are underneath. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some of this rubber mat in between. So I'm just going to put that on there, line this up, and we can trim it off when I have this guy on. So we'll just make sure we're lined up. We're good to go all the way around. So I'm hoping this will act as a seal. We don't need much of a seal really, I'll be honest with you. The pipes will be fairly close together. And yeah, it's just a little precautionary thing. Whether it actually adds that into it or not, I don't know, but it might help the situation. So drive that home. Yeah. There we go. Nice and simple. So let's get it marked up. Okay, there we go. Could not be simpler. So we have our rubber gasket between this side. That's the side that's going to face the extractor. So that should help a small bit just to keep it sealed up when it's closed. And then there's our mechanism. Couldn't be any easier. It's stronger than the ones that I came with, and they work perfect, so I've no reason to think this won't work. Nice and easy, slides in between. Just put 2 lines so I know it's closed, and there's the open line right there. Nice and simple. You could put a little stop inside it if you want, so that when you pull it to here it stops, but you know what, it's not needed. It's good and stiff, and once you hit that line you know you're good, and there's plenty of scope. So happy days. Now, so I need to fit a pipe to this side, and then this is going to be fit to the actual pipe over there. So let's do that. Okay, there you go. You get a really nice clean cut on the miter saw with 4-inch pipes. That's a handy. One of you guys actually commented on the last video, so that's a nice little tip. Thanks very much. It works really well. There's no bore or anything, and it's a nice clean square cut. So happy days. Now again, like in the last video, I wrapped the end of the pipe with some rubber just to give me a good tight seal. Now I'm just going to work this in here, and I should have a nice compression fit. Yeah, there we go. Nice and simple, and if I need to I can put a bit of duct tape around here, but I don't think I'll need to. So that's a good compression fit on that. So now the side with the rubber on it, that's going to go towards my extractor, and so I need to wrap the pipe over here with some of this stuff. So when I do that, we'll fit it and I'll get back to you. Okay guys, here we are. We are on, we're in place. Again, I just wrapped this side with rubber and sealed it up so it's good compression fit, fits nice and snug. Wrap the other side, you see me do that with rubber as well, stuck that in. I just put a small screw in the top just to hold this because this flexible hose is kind of weighty and it's pulling on this side of the pipe, so it's pulling it out. So there's a screw in there to hold it in place, just to barely grab it. It's like a little grub screw for all the world. So it's just catching it and holding it there. Stop this section pulling out, and this is working. Now, it's rough and ready. and but it works perfect. So I'll give you a demonstration of it now. We'll go switch on the dust extractor and you can see just how good this thing actually works. So let's do it. That's a pretty good seal. Okay, there we go guys, we have an excellent seal here. There's no air leaking out. Locks up, as you can hear. It's closing off that pipe nicely. Happy days. That actually works quite well. Right guys, there we go. That is a super simple blast gate. Extremely easy to make. It took all of, I don't know, maybe half an hour to put that together. It's rough and ready, but it does the job perfectly. Now, if you don't have any rubber, like I put on the inside, that rubber diaphragm, that actually does work. You could just line it with some duct tape. Just line the inside of this with duct tape and then just cut out your circle. The same way as I did with the rubber, just use duct tape. Face your duct tape then towards the side of your extractor. The pressure in the extractor anyway will pull this fibre board towards the hole and close it off. So that's what gives it its seal. It's the actual pressure from the dust extractor will pull that hole closed anyway. So yeah, it's super simple. 2 little runners, pushing it out. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. It literally just has to close off that 4-inch hole. Nothing more to it than that really. And like I say, it took half an hour to make. And again, if you don't have any rubber for the outside of your hose to get that seal, insulating tape will do the same job. So you have to get a heavy coil of Scotch tape. So a Scotch tape is slightly wider, slightly denser insulating tape, and just wrap the end of that pipe, get a good compression fit, and you are happy days, as they say. So yeah, there we go. I'm going to make a few more of these now because that was extremely easy. It's far easier than I thought. It's not pretty, but it absolutely does the job, and the concept is good. It took me, like I say, half an hour. Now, let's talk a little bit more about this earthing and bonding that I didn't do in the last video. Okay, let's do it. Okay guys, just quickly again with this earthing and bonding. So a couple of things I forgot to say to you. You do run the copper pipe or the copper wire the entire length of your piping system. So a bare uninsulated copper wire. You can buy braided copper wire uninsulated. You can buy in, I don't know how many meter lengths it comes in, but it comes in little rolls. That's grand. You can just run that through your pipe then, and then you just want to take it out at either end or anywhere you can get outside your pipe and get onto a ground or an earth. So my metal conduit is grounded, it's earthed in the socket. I have an earth to my socket and it connects to all this trunking and conduit system, so I know I have a good earth there. You should be able to get a good earth off the metal frame of one of your machines, provided that the machine's frame is bonded. So you have a live, neutral and earth going into the machine, and the earth then should go onto all the frames, so you should be able to pick up an earth off one of your metal machines. If you're unsure, just get an electrician out and he'll give you an actual earthing point on the wall if you require it, or he'll check if there's an earth on the machine. All you need to do is get a continuity tester, test between any of your earths and the outside of your machine, and that'll tell you whether it's grounded or not. And that just literally wrap the copper around the screw and screw it into the machine. That'll give you a ground. You can get back into your socket, like I say, onto your metal conduit, onto your metal trunking. If you're completely unsure of this, just get an electrician and they'll give you a copper bar or a grounding point that you can ground onto. And it's that simple. So yes, you do run the copper wire the entire length of your pipe, and then you take it out wherever you can and get onto your ground, wherever you can find a ground. And like I say, most likely you get a ground off the metal frame of the machine, off your sockets, or off a light switch or something like that. And if you're unsure, call an electrician. So hopefully that clears that up. Right guys, there we go. That's the blast gate made, and we cleared up some of the earthing and bonding issues. Now, there was a bunch of other questions you guys had for me, so let's address some of them. So some of you guys asked me, is it possible to put in a system where the extractor would come on automatically when you switch on your machine, and it would also use a solenoid to open the blast gates? Yes, absolutely. It is completely doable. It's not very complicated. There's a bit of work and it's a bit time consuming to install that kind of a system to get it all wired up, but yes, I could absolutely do that. You could absolutely do that, or get an electrician to do that for you, and it is absolutely possible. You can get CTs that measure current, and as soon as you put a load on any of those machines, it will switch a contactor. That will bring on the dust extractor. It'll also switch the solenoid to pop open that blast gate. So yes, that is absolutely doable. Another few of you guys mentioned about my dust extractor. That dust extractor is extremely powerful. So it's a high volume, low pressure extractor. It's designed to be used, it can actually be used with smaller pipe. Heavier pipe is designed to go into a plumbed in system, so you can see the pressure that I'm getting with it is perfect. It is low volume, so it's yeah, the bin is a bit smaller, the barrel is a bit small, so it fills up quickly on the planer and stuff like that, but it's easy, just take it outside and empty it. So I'm not going to put in a cyclone. If I get a bigger machine, another question you asked, would I put the machine outside? Yes, if I get a bigger machine, I would put it outside, but I'm using that as a shop vac as well for the minute, so it's nice to have it in the shop. I can go around and clean the whole place up. But if I was to get a bigger, larger capacity machine, I would definitely put it outside, run the pipework through the wall, and that would be a bit of soundproofing, so you wouldn't have to be listening to that thing, because it is quite noisy. So that's that question answered. Another person commented about the earthing and bonding, that it's absolutely not necessary, that it is impossible to get an explosive atmosphere in a home shop pipe. Yes, you are probably true. It is probably correct that it would be, like I said in the video, it is highly unlikely that you will get the correct mixture of fuel and air and a spark in your home shop system. You would need a much bigger system and a big larger capacity for that to happen. But it's just precaution, it's just safety. It's very, very unlikely you will ever need it, so just run the earth in it. It's not going to cost you much to do it. Another comment you made was that if your machine is sitting on the ground, it would be grounded anyway. No, it will not be grounded anyway, unless that machine, the metal frame on that machine is bonded. In other words, the earth that comes into it is actually connected to the metal frame. You are not guaranteed that that machine is earthed just by sitting it on the ground. There's 4 inches or 6 inches of concrete between you and the ground. That's not a good conductor. It's a terrible conductor. So unless you have metal plates from the bottom of the machine going down through the concrete and into the ground, then you're guaranteed an earth from the machine. But just sitting that machine on the floor itself does not mean that it's earthed. So that's another point to clean up. Again, automatic switching of the dust extractor. You can buy remote control sockets that you can just switch, so they'll just plug straight into your existing sockets, and then you can plug your dust extractor into that, leave the dust extractor turned on, and then you can just use your remote control to switch on and off that remote control socket. So that's what I'm going to get for over there. Little remote control, just keep in your pocket, hit the switch, and you can turn your dust extractor on from anywhere in the shop, and that's an extremely cost effective, no electrician needed way of switching on and off your dust extractor. So there you go. I think that hit most of the questions and most of the points. So that's it, guys. I started this video at 6 o'clock in the morning, so I'll probably have it up on YouTube by lunchtime. I'm going to get another coffee into me now just to wake myself up, but I had to get up early and just come out and see if I could make those blast gates, and they're pretty simple to make, so I'm going to make a few more of them. So there we go. Cup of coffee time. I'll talk to you later.